right. Hello. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. How's everybody doing? I'm just waking up, to be honest with you, and it's good to have you here. Sam and Michelle and Sarah and Sean. What's up, wonderful people? Hopefully you guys are doing well. It's good to see you. This is going to be a great day. We have a day full of master classes, starting off with this design master class. Then we have Terry White's photography masterclass, and then I'll get into Photoshop masterclass. You can see the schedule below. If you're joining me elsewhere, jump over to behance.net/Adobe Live. Yes, I'm just getting my day started. I'm on my second cup of coffee, at least I'm working on it, and I'm glad you guys are here. So welcome. It's going to be a beautiful day, and let's get into this. You can kind of see from the description what I'm going to be doing today as well. All right. Let's just go ahead and refresh this page one more time and switch my screen. Let's just dive into this. All right, cool. There we have it. Happy Friday indeed, Andreas and Reverb Mike in the house. Early morning over here. Early morning for me here in beautiful Denver, Colorado. So yes, coffee first, then some oxygen. Ain't that the truth? But here's the quote for today. I'm sure you've probably... Whoa, Steve, it's 4 a.m. Oh, you win. You win the staying up challenge, or the waking up early challenge, just so you know. But yeah, so perfection is achieved not when there's nothing more to add, but when there's nothing left to take away. So essentially, this is all about editing. It's learning how to edit. And if you guys, designers out there, as you become more experienced in design, the better you get at editing. Because when you're learning, you're throwing everything at a design. You're just throwing everything at it, just like I did here. It's like, oh, let's put a circle there. Let's put that. Oh, that'd be cool. You know what? Oh, Paul showed me something cool the other day where you can kind of like, I don't know, round these corners. Maybe I'll do that, huh? And you have all these bright ideas. I know for me, it was like, I would say probably in Photoshop. Does anybody remember Kai's Power Tools? You guys remember Kai's Power Tools? And basically some of those plugins that were simulated worlds and textures and just weirdness, right? Well, again, that's what would happen, is I would end up using some of those, and it's just like horrible, right? And in this case, we want to learn how to edit. Oh, that is deep reverb, Mike. Yeah, that's where clever. That is kind of where my voice is at. It's very radio DJ driving into the midnight hour, everybody. I know everybody's waking up and drinking coffee. Let's just take it easy. Let's work on editing, right? Like I'm doing in here. Again, this is presentation mode that I'm currently in, Shift F. But a lot of you are probably hitting maybe the tab key. But anyways, that's what I do here. It's like, hey, you know what? It's not when there's nothing left to add, but when there's nothing left to take away, right? So I would just jump in and say, you know what are these adding to the design? Absolutely nothing, right? Another thing right here, I'm like, why is this text red? Is there any purpose that I want to build excitement about this, right? I just want to speak plainly, right? Let's keep this simple, just like that. It's literally white text on, black text on a white background. The problem with editing is it could tend to look boring. So how can you keep it minimalist and keep it interesting? Is the goal. So that's just something you'll have to think about. It's like, okay, well, will this be more interesting? And again, just working on this one quote, you know, if I put a black box and change the text to white, right? Is this starting to look a little bit more interesting? You know, maybe this font could be a little bit more interesting, a little bit more, I don't know, designery. So we're still going to go with sans serif. But maybe not Acumen, right? Because again, there's plenty of fonts out there that we can choose from. Let's go to a sans serif, right? And actually, you know what? Let's actually jump into a serif font, right? Just to give something like a little bit of elegance without it seeming too boilerplate. This already is like a better design if you ask me. Yeah. Yeah, so, and Michelle, this is pretty much how your designs typically go. It's like this. I'll switch to the pencil, and it's this sort of graph, okay? And it's not anything we want to see in the stock market, but it goes like this. You add, and then you start editing down. So it's like this is typically the curve of, I would say, potentially a good designer. So starting out, and this is starting out whether you're starting out as a designer or with a project individually. But when you're starting out, you start to add all this stuff to your design, right? And then you get to the top. This is what it's like. You reach this top, it's like walk away, and then you come back, and it's and you realize it's not good. Whatever, you guys get the idea, right? So you walk away, and then when you come back, you start editing, and maybe that's what I'll call it. I'll get rid of all this text here, but this is kind of the process. You take a break, right? Realize all the unnecessary elements, right? Like that. Yeah, the future of GameStop. Huh. Funny. And sometimes right over here, have you ever done this? Sometimes, so this is final design, is sometimes back where you began. Has anybody ever done that? It's like you start something, you work hard at it, you add all this stuff to it, and then when you're done with it, you realize that you kind of end up back at the beginning. So that's kind of the essence of a design, and that's what we're going to do today. Yeah, exactly. So that's essentially what this is. Reverb Mike said it pretty much the same thing, just a different way. But starting out, you take a break, and this is what I think is important. Take a break, walk away, show it to somebody else, right? Go explore other things, approach it with new eyes, and then you realize all the unnecessary elements and what's distracting, and then you get back to the final design. Okay, so that was fun. You guys get the idea. I'm actually going to start out on the iPad, and like I said, we're going to take a bunch of elements, reduce them down to their sort of the smallest denominator is the idea. Okay? All right. Oh yeah, Michelle Saporito. I call it simmering. When I walk away from a project for a bit, you let it simmer. This is the thing, is you walk away from it, you get detached from it, and then when you come back again, you approach it with new eyes, right? That's basically what happens. I often think of Stephen King would like write a novel or write a story, or maybe hit a roadblock or writer's block. He would step away from it for like a month, and then he would come back, and what you're doing, you're approaching it with new eyes, and you're able to see the things that you might have missed. So that being said, I'm switching over to my iPad just so you know. And I just want to say how happy I am to be here, my wonderful friends. It's a good day to be alive and creating as well. I'm just kind of tightening this up a little bit so you can see it on my screen. Always constantly tweaking things. Let's get that over like that and switch. Bam, here we are. So this is the idea. Yeah, exactly. Like, downtime is not time that you're not working, right? It just means that you're taking some downtime, and then when you come back and you approach it again, it's just not wasted time ever, I don't think, right? Okay, so here what I have, I'm in Illustrator on the iPad. I just dropped in a bunch of images, right? Because I thought it'd be fun to take these and reduce them down to their simplest, like, components. Yeah, I could have done that on the desktop as well, but here we are, like this skull, for instance. How could we reduce this down to its simplest elements? In fact, we could take this even further. Let's go ahead and turn this off really fast, if you guys don't mind, because I have a whole other thing that I want to show you as well. But so let's get into that in a second. Let's not even confuse it with any design that we're currently working on. Let's just start with I don't know, creating the sun, right? So let's just jump in. Let's create the sun. What's the most basic shape for a sun? Might be just a circle, but does it actually read as a sun? Let's get rid of that line. Let's add a little gold there, essentially, and this is basically reading as the sun, right? We can add water underneath if we want to, right? So we'll just jump in here, flip these two, right? Is this going to read as water if I put water underneath? Let's just maybe go with the pen tool, you know? There you go. Let me actually... get this nice and straight. Don't worry. There we are. We have that like so. And I want to make this look like water. I would change this to potentially a blue, right? And then I'd want to repeat this. What I can do is, rather than duplicating this line, I can duplicate this line. I should be able to take this, drag it out. But actually what I want to do is I want to go into the the grid repeat. So I'm going to go into grid repeat with this single line, selecting it, and basically this is how I'd like make the ripples. Why is this taking so long? Let's jump in here. Why? Let's zoom in here on this guy, right? Let's add actually another point right there in the center. Did I do it? Yep, it is there. Here's maybe a single wave that I'm adding. Okay, we'll take this. We'll try this one more time. Come on, grid repeat. There we go. There's my lovely grid repeat. Now we can go ahead and take that down. And again, this is already getting pretty complex. I want to just have one set of lines like so, or something. So let's actually take this. Let's come in here. Let's connect these. Right, I'm going to do this really fast. There's no time to waste. We get these grid repeat options. Let's have these connect. It's not quite perfect, right? Let's go in here. Let's edit this point right here. But bam, there it is. Make that sure that is nice and straight. Okay, same thing for the other side. Bring that down like so, and make sure that snaps into place at 0. Okay, so that's how I'm just making this lovely wave like so. Okay, I want to offset it. So let's go ahead and offset it. You'll notice right in here, as you select any sort of repeat item, you can see grid repeat. Let's go ahead and shift those. Actually, what I want to do, yeah, that's pretty good. That's kind of how I wanted to shift them. So there we have it. You guys get the idea. My lovely little waves. And I can shrink that down and have some fun with it. Yeah, no big deal. All right. Pretty straightforward. Nothing that crazy. Right? This is a cloud dock. There's actually more I want to do with it. Let's close this quote and switch my screens over. Oops. There we are. There's my design. Let's open this up. I want to do more with this. I think this could be 1,000 times cooler, by the way. All right. Oh, thank you, Sam Peterson. So nice. So I love this. Jumping in here, I can see that this actually is still using that grid repeat. Let me change the outline mode of this just to a medium blue. But right in here, we can see all these lovely controls, which is awesome, that I can use or break apart. But this is cool that this is actually now available in Illustrator. And I've just been using this more and more. Here's the same radial grid and mirror, which is awesome, right? And you can also have a release. When I do a release, it just breaks it back down into its original, right? If I zoom out, we can go ahead and add it again just by, or if you just wanted to add it on the desktop, we can add the grid repeat like so, right? And here it is. Right, but anyways, I want this original version. And I'd probably trim this up. There's so much I would like to do. Let's take, for instance, this sun, right? Let's make it look like, we're gonna make it look like this sun is rising up out of the water. Okay, so that is the plan. Where is all my stuff? And welcome, Afroja. I see you over there. Hello, Space Kitten. Oh, I was like broke stuff. I hit a key and all my stuff went away. Alrighty, good times. Oh man, so sorry. I'm waiting for, hold on folks, I gotta get there. I lost some stuff. Anyways, let's not worry about it. Let's just take this, we're gonna duplicate it. I'm gonna turn this, we'll just actually leave it this color. Let's take this and do a couple things to it. One thing I can do is jump in here and use something like and it's actually under the width tool, use the warp tool, right? So I want to warp this and make this look like it's just some water. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to eliminate that point like so, right? We'll go ahead and get rid of that. We're going to have this as one lovely little shape like so, okay? So there's half, right? Here's the other half. Get rid of this top. Let's just delete that, right? We could always connect those lines. I just showed you two different ways to do that. And let's come in here and grab this lovely little warp tool. And let's change its size to 50 by 50. Intensity, we could probably increase to 80, right? And all I did is double click on that tool. And now we can just kind of do some swooshiness. Let's go 90. 40, just like so, okay? Just pull that in, pull this out, pull that in, like so. You guys get the idea. So we'll go ahead and attach that right here as part of this design and maybe change the color. So that's all I was working on. If I spent more time with it, right, I could probably get something a little bit better. Let's actually take this again. Let's rotate it and work on this. By the way, each time as I go to this tool, I'm double clicking, right, to access all these properties, when all I really need to do is I can hold down the Option key and then shrink that brush size. So I'll shrink that brush size, and now I kind of pull that in, right, pull this out. This brush can be even smaller. Alright, you guys get the idea. Yeah, that's alright. It turned out okay. Alright, finally. Here's another way we could execute that as well. Take this, you know what? Boom, boom. Take a line, turn it blue. Maybe we'll actually make it a little bit more teal because I think it'll look better. And for this line, let's draw it out from here to here. Right, again, we're just kind of creating a sunrise over the ocean. since it is morning. And kind of getting a good start to our day this way. Center those. We'll use the blend tool. Selecting the blend tool. Bam, bam. There we are. Too many steps. Let's just do like 4. Right, there we go. There's just 4 lovely little steps like so. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's all right. There we go. Swooshiness is a technical term. You got it. All right. So yes, we are attempting to do a sunrise. That is the goal. Okay. Yeah. We can do the same thing with this sun if we want to make it look like it's radiating out rays of light. We could do that still with our repeat tools. Maybe not that thick. Let's go down to about 10. Shift Command H will eliminate all of the artboard. So you're just kind of viewing this as a white page. And here's this lovely ray of light. There's a number of ways to do this. In this case, I'm going to use the object repeat, and we're going to do a radial. Okay, so from this radial, you can see I can expand it out and make sure this is right in the center, like so. And then we have our rays of light that we can add as many rays as we want, or as few of them as I want to. And it's pretty straightforward what's happening here, huh? I could actually have it go out a little bit, so there's a little bit of a border. I'd make sure the thickness between the space between here and here is the same thickness as that is, just to keep it consistent, and that was pretty easy to do. All right. To make this look more interesting is I would actually vary these stroke lines. So let's take this again, duplicate it over here. Right, we'll take this one and we will give it less light rays. Okay, so here's one version. We will duplicate it. Let's bring this up here so everything else is out of the way. Duplicate it. Jump in here for this one. This one's going to be much longer. So we'll do something kind of like that. Right? And we'll take this. We'll bring it back into position. Center it. And at this point we can go ahead and adjust. And right over here, this is the... this should be 180. So here we have all my repeat options. If we want to get exact, rather than using this little scrubby right here, I can actually dial in, you know, say 8, for instance, right? And I'm noticing this isn't actually straight up and down. So I could always go in there and tweak that. It's like, you know what? Let's make this look nice and straight. And make sure pixel snapping is turned off. Okay, so this is what's happening. We have... some weird snapping going on, right? And anytime you have this weird snapping, like, well, actually, I don't have it right now. I'm able to line it up perfectly. But if things aren't lined up correctly, just jump up here. You might have pixel snapping turned on. So we could just double click on that. Should be able to. Just actually, you could just turn it off, or you can go to the advanced pixel snapping options. So this allows you to snap directly to pixels, right? And that might prevent you from like maybe not getting it exact, or allows you to get it exact. So if things are off, just click that button and go from there. All right, I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, I do want 8. The one that's off is this one. Oh, that's the problem. Let's actually take this to 0. Ooh, geez, not that. Oops. Went back a little too far. Good times are gonna be had today. Oh, I'm already 25 minutes in and all I've done is my sun. What about all my animals? I have so many animals I need to work on. All right, let's take this one. Looks like this is actually sort of the pixels out from the center, right? And these are my repeat options. If I do 8, again, it's actually right on top of the other. And quite frankly, I want these lines to be exactly on top of one another. So let's go in here. Let's grab this. This is our life as an illustrator sometimes. Like, you know what? Let's just get this perfectly snapped into place. And make sure this pixel snapping is turned off. So don't snap to the whole pixels. All right. Yeah. Now it's getting a little bit more tricky. I have to kind of keep track of the stacking order. So I can move that to the very bottom. And here's my other radial right up here. So this is the radial repeat that I want, is this one. All right. Okay, if I do 16, right, we get those rays on the inside. Sorry that took so long. That took so long. But we got it. And now that's using the radial repeat. I have 2 of them, one stacked on top of the other. And we have our nice little like hipster sun. Okay. You guys get the idea, right? I would say out of these, we have 3 different suns. This is probably the most minimalist, right? And different ways that we can actually reproduce this. Let's go ahead and take this really fast. Hurry up, Paul. Copy, paste. Right, let's expand this out like so. Send this to the back. Let's make this, we'll first off make this a color, like so. We'll snap it into place. We're gonna take these 2, we're gonna make them a little bit larger and blend them. Let's do it. Bam, bam. There we are, right? And from here, let's change that color of this outside one to, you guessed it, white. Okay, so now we have another sort of like 3rd sun. Okay. My 3 suns. Slow clap. Slow clap. My 3 suns. All right. So this is the thing. There's way too many blends here. This could work for you. Yeah, sure. Right? We'll keep this as my 3 suns as well, by the way. But let's go in and let's change this to specified steps. Let's do like 4. Okay, look at this. Already 1,000 times, in my opinion, is much better, right? We just have these lovely little orbs. We have 4 steps. Looks really good, and we can always change that as much as we want, right? We're simplifying, and I think this sun starts to get like better and better. But now you have, what do you got? You got a total of, I guess, 4 different versions now. There you go. All right, cool. A little solar flare, yeah. Oh man, that's the thing. You know, it's like, oh, you know, you're thinking, oh, I'll add more to it and it'll make it better. Is it though? Is it really? Let's throw a background back there. We will make this a lovely teal. Right, and let's make it even lighter. You guys get the idea. Let's actually select this one. Let's keep this the same color, that one, and we'll change the opacity down to 0. There you have that. Look at how it actually changes when you put it on a different color, right? I actually like this one less once I put it on a color, right? I don't know. All right, so let's move on. I did a ton here. We've learned a lot. Let's save this file. Let's see what else we got out here. We got a lot going on. Let's turn those off because I have all these assets that I want to work on as well. So let's go back to these and make some minimalist animals as well. Paul says, repeat feature looks dope. Yes, it is dope. All right. But it's cool that it's there. It's on the desktop, but it's also on the iPad because that's where it originated from, right? So we'll jump over to my iPad and we can have some more fun right in here. There it is. By the way, all of my assets that I've just drawn right up here, we can see those. Okay, but I want to get into some of this other stuff. So let's actually go ahead and turn that off. Let's add a new layer, and let's have fun with this new layer kind of beneath everything else, and start to play with this. So all this content, really I just want to change the opacity. We're going to drop that down, and then we're just going to use that as a reference as we start creating on this new layer. All right. Afroja. I'll add some flowers. Yeah, plenty we can add. I wanted to do a whole like minimalist scene and wanted to use some animals and different things. Maybe a skull, right? Because I think maybe just a nature scene might be kind of boring. So do we throw a skull in there? You guys know me. That's probably what I would end up doing, right? Jumping in here. This is what I would do. Let's actually use, I'm using Apple Pencil. I'm going to use the straight up pencil tool. We'll go in here and we'll just start drawing. We'll take the shape of this eye, right? We can kind of see the shape of that eye, and we want to create it like so, just by bending that out. And this is what sort of a skull eye typically looks like. It's kind of like a weird oval, right? Double tap to kind of smooth that out. I can make them look, this is actually should be angled down a little bit more. I can make it look like a mean skull if I just bring that side up, but we'll just kind of bring that down like so. And this is kind of the start of our lovely little skull that you knew I was going to do. All right, I'm actually only going to do half of this. You ready for this? We could take the nose, still using the pencil tool because I think it's just nice and allows me to kind of freely flow and create what I want. Let's round those end caps and the corners, right? So we don't get that sharp point, but we could always jump in, double tap, remove that one. You guys see what I'm doing, right? It's just art stuff. We're just doing art stuff today. Hopefully you're doing well. We got a full day planned. It's going to be awesome. As soon as I have these components drawn, I want to kind of be mindful of their size, right? So I want to make sure that's the correct size. This is going to be the correct size, and then we can do the mouth and the teeth and all that fun stuff. Harvey, you were wondering when I was going to draw skulls. It's about time, huh? It is about time. Okay, so let's do this really fast. I use the pencil tool a lot. I could always switch to any one of these other tools if I decide to use the pen tool. I'm going to do this in as few points as possible. Taking that point right there, let's get rid of it. Yeah, that's right. I'm making just like one tooth. And then I can go ahead and duplicate that a number of times. We can see right here, bam! That's how I've been doing it. Let's go ahead and fill this with white. This one with white, right? Like so. All right, we have this little control button right here, or gosh, on canvas duplicate button as I start to duplicate those teeth a number of times. Take this, duplicate them, maybe rotate them around, shoot, maybe flip them, right? I'm making the lower teeth now as well. Zoop. There we are. And there's sort of the bottom teeth. Now let's have fun with this skull. Let's take this This might not be perfect, but I was thinking a good idea would be to use the mirror repeat. So we'll go ahead and repeat that, mirroring it, right? We want this to actually be black. So now I have this side, see what it does, this side, we can see what that does. And we can take this center line, oops. Let me tap into that. And grab this bottom node and angle or line that up, okay? So it is mirroring, so I'm gonna have to adjust these teeth. I knew I'd have a problem with these teeth. I'd probably have to get this perfectly aligned like so. Let's adjust the depth. Oh, that's fascinating. Oh, that's fascinating. We're learning things, guys. I knew I'd have an issue with the teeth. This is what happens. To bring this eye in, the teeth are going to be a little bit more problematic, to be honest with you. Let's go back in here and work with the pencil tool. Draw this out, bring this down, bring this in like that. There we are. I'm realizing I don't have a stacking order with the mirror repeat. Ah, this is shameful. How silly, right? There's always a way out of this because I can take this and off to the side. We have the option too for this mirror repeat to expand. So now I've just broken it apart. We can ungroup it, and now we have everything as separate elements. So for these, oh man, I tell you, buddy. One more, there it is. Okay, let's take this one. Adjusting the stacking order, right? And let's make sure this is ungrouped as well. There we go. Sort of there's the start of our skull. Okay. You guys get it. Let's move on to something else that might come to us a little bit more easily. Okay, that took forever. I'm trying to show you guys new features that I thought would be fun. All right. No, I'm desperate. I'm desperate to tweak this one to death, right? Quite literally, since it's a skull. Take this, let's flip it. Let's put that right there. All of these, again, need to be changed. There we go. Let's unclip that. Now I have that stacking order for all these teeth. Finally. Drag that almost to the bottom. Almost to the bottom. Like so. Yeah, and I would play with the different shapes. This is not looking very good. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little embarrassed. Since I broke this apart, these actually are no longer connected. So I gotta adjust one each, like individually. Like that. Oh, this needs so much work. All right, cool. Let's move on. Yeah, the skull needs braces. Let's go to this guy. Let's just do a toucan. This will be so much easier. All right. And again, like, what do we do with this toucan? Let's kind of deduce this to its basic components. Zip, zoop, zoop, boom. There it is. We have that wonderful beak. Next thing is we want to be mindful of the head. Let's do this. Zoop, zoop, around, and then here's its body. Already I can tell that this is too many points. So what I can do is use the pencil, go down here, make sure smoothing is cranked all the way up, right? But let's just take this and swoosh that down like that. We'll take this side, swoosh this down like this. Okay. Now let's do the tail. This is going to get worse before it gets better. There's its tail. How's everybody doing this fine Friday? You guys doing well? Checking the time. Yeah. Cool. We are doing good. On time, that is. But man, some of these animals. That skull. Oh, man. By the way, I'm dragging out, I'm trying to make a perfect circle. When I drag things out, I'll get that diagonal line, but I could also, if you have a keyboard, you can hold down the shift key. All right, it's pretty easy. Ugh. I hate that I do that all the time. There we go. Grab that, put that up there. Make this colorful, huh? Yeah. Put this in front of everything else, huh? There we go. What do I do with these? I want to start connecting them, right? These two lines, let's select them both and join. Let's select these two and join. I wonder if I actually want that though. I'm gonna undo this. I think I just want these two connected, right? And there it is, as black. Let's change this to white. Change this to black. All right. There are a ton of toucans in Dublin. Sean, how come I just find that hard to believe? I find that very hard to believe. Okay, so here's a situation where like this like looks okay if you ask me. Still could use a little bit more color and a number of things. Will this be better if I take this? And really the big problem with this current design is the stroke of this line, right? And I would almost say the eye might have an issue as well. But let's take this, and if I was Aaron Draplin, what would I do? I'd go to my properties panel, and I would like increase the thickness of that line. And already this is like what you see. This is currently like the cool style is to go ahead and make all your lines really thick, right? I like this pointy beak or a bill. I don't know the difference between a beak and a bill. I assume they're the same thing, but I would maybe assume wrong. So right in here, we can go ahead and round those corners if we want to, make that a little bit more soft, and you guys get the idea. Okay. Use the yellow color on the body. Yeah, that's a good call. Should we start introducing like more colors? And actually, should we actually just eliminate the stroke altogether, right? Is this gonna look better in the long run? I'm really into this, right? We're gonna have a hard time differentiating between the bill and the body as I add this yellow. So let's go ahead and add that yellow in. All right, let's bring this eye in like so. Let's decrease the size of this line. Oh, fascinating. Let's jump in here. We're gonna do 0.5. There we go. Okay. Let's draw it out. Let's have some fun today. There we go. And throw some yellow in there. I often think about this. A lot of this stuff is like tight but not touching, right? It's like, oh, your brain wants to connect these lines. Everything's like a little wonky here, right? So again, this is just stuff we need to clean up. We'll go and we'll select this. We'll just bring this down like so. and adjust any of these Bezier points that I want. Same thing with this bill, right? It's like, it's kind of close. Like, would it be better off if it's touching? All right. Okay, let's work on this bill. Let's throw a splash of color on it. Something like that. All right, what's up, Kathleen? Kathleen, are you up next? I have no idea. I should check. I have too many screens open. All right. All right, Fairy's here, so we can officially get started. Let's take this now. We could still add a couple more things to it. I think this could maybe use this black line right here. And again, like I said in the beginning, we'll add, and then we'll start editing down as well. So let's flip this, grab some black, make this line much thicker. But let's just kind of draw this in like so. Okay, there's that line. We can crank this up a little bit or not, but we'll definitely cap that like so. And there we have this lovely line. Take a look back at these other colors here. Interesting. So Shahir, which stroke did you actually like? I don't know if I'm crazy about this. I'm starting to add this embellishment, but what I want to do is I want to look at this design overall. Like, we added the basic blocks. We blocked it in. We blocked in all the basic components of this toucan. Now we're getting into the specifics. So if I started adding this line that's sort of this thick, I need to take a look at this toucan and take a look at all the components that are like that thick, that stand out that much, right? One of them is going to be the branch. Do I want to do the branch or not? I haven't decided. Okay. Let's take a look at this some more. Let's actually come in here and change this because this is a little too round. So let's bring it in and draw this again. There we go. Okay, I might decide that this bill actually should be colorful like it is over there. There's a number of ways I could do this. I can try drawing out shapes, or what I could also try is jumping into the gradients. Okay, let's move this over. But right in here we have the freeform gradient tool. Okay, so now I can say, hey, you know what? On the end here, we want to make that red. Okay, we're noticing up here at the top, we'll add another color stop and we'll throw some green right in there. Okay, we notice there's some, maybe some orange that I can add down there. Starts getting a little muddy, not crazy about it. So let's make sure we have some yellow in there to ease that transition, right? To kind of get rid of that muddy color. Right, we'll even add another one down there, okay? So there we have sort of one example of what we can do just with the freeform gradient tool. All right. Hello, Freddie from Indonesia. Welcome. Good vibes. All right. So I'm not crazy about this. This is like okay. So this is a situation where I take all this stuff, you know, and put it off to the side. Well, there's one. And then I'd work on this second one for a while. Right? I personally think it just needs to be like a gold. with splotches of those colors. So what we did here, the reason this isn't really working, you know why? Is because I'm basically kind of like mixing styles. Like all of a sudden, I'm dealing with all these smooth gradients in my design. Like, does it need it? No, we want to edit this down. Say, you know what? You're using just blocks of color with no gradient, no blending of them. So just continue that work, Paul. Don't make it any more complex than it needs to be, right? Throw some green in there, right? Ease it up a little bit. Okay, and then just start drawing out some fun shapes right in here. There's one. Make sure that's the... Yeah, you guys get the idea. And you can see this is much more like it because we're no longer mixing styles, right? This green is a little much. All right. I can think about adding a highlight on this top edge. Yeah, let's do it, folks. Why not? We're all going to try some things and get this where we want it to be. I hope what people kind of gather is like simplicity is hard, right? It's just difficult, right? Because you're deducing everything down to its basic shape, which is why I've always thought that like caricature artists are like amazing because they could look at a face and say, hey, you know what can I take away? What boring parts can I take away from a face, and what parts can I focus on and exaggerate? So it's exaggerating just the right pieces, which I think is amazing, right? Typically, when we jump in here, you know, we want to add a little highlight to the eye. That just typically just makes it look much better, right? There's our little highlight, and now he looks less like freaked out. Okay, there's the little highlight. All right. Pretty easy. Do you usually only take an average color from your reference for the color in your design? I don't know what you mean by average color. Do I usually take the average color? I try to take a look at the elements that tend to stand out the most and then just start adding more detail to it. It's not that complex, folks. So this is where it starts to get a little bit of personality because it could look like he's frowning. Yes, and I agree. Breaking the rules is essentially what you're doing, right? It's easy. Well, I shouldn't say it's easy, but you could easily... I'm not sure if this line is working. And there's no taper just yet. That's okay. I don't think this is really needed, at least not this part. So again, that's like so small. If I look at the pixel size, that's such a small detail. Do I need that? Yeah, I know there's a mouth there, right? Stop thinking of this as a bird with a mouth. These are just a bunch of shapes that I need to block in and then add as much detail as I want. So again, back to this one, if we decide, you know what, this is has conflicting styles, we can add a gradient right in here. So we'll jump in, we'll just do a radial gradient, make sure that is our lovely yellow. We'll go to this green, we'll make that black. We'll add another color stop. And this one is going to be straight up yellow as well. There we go. Now these styles tend to match a little bit more. Geez, I'm down to my last couple of minutes. Pretty much my last minute. All right, yeah, this is my last minute. Sometimes I get this. Some features are under construction because basically we're still working on Illustrator on the iPad, but I did show you what you could do for with Illustrator on the desktop and iPad when kind of making some minimalist animals. I didn't get nearly as far as I've wanted to. The skull turned out just embarrassingly bad. I'd say this is the winner for the day. Let's turn off all that stuff and we'll kind of leave you with it. So thanks Space Kitten and Steve and Michelle and Mike and Clever and Cito and everybody joining me everywhere else. I'll let you guys go. Have a beautiful day. Stay tuned. We got a full day, an amazing schedule. So stick around and I'll be back later with my Photoshop masterclass. Thanks so much, everyone.